Welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon and Ascendant signs are, have a look at the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. What else do I need to tell you? Thank you for your subscribes and your likes and your comments and your messages and your donations. They are so appreciated, I cannot even tell you. Yeah, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. I love you to the moon and back and all that. We've got a retrograde coming up in February, Mercury retrograde. Don't be afraid. It's just an opportunity to deal with people, situations, emotions that you maybe haven't finished off properly yet. Just don't start anything new. It's the thing. At least until the retrograde's over and the shadow period, which is usually a couple of weeks, is over and done with. Right, let's have a look. So, Capricorn, 3 cards for Capricorn, please. There's the first one. We've got the 3 of Pentacles. Oh. Interesting. I'm going to take those two together. We've got the 2 of Wands and the Lovers. Lovers is the card of Gemini in the Major Arcana number 6. Talks about making a choice. And one more card for Capricorn, please. For that one. Got the 7 of Swords. Someone was banging on my door. I won't, it's fine. Bottom of the deck, we've got the 10 of Swords. It talks about the end of a cycle. Just put it like that for now. Right, let's get some clarifiers and then we'll get on with the reading. Why is the 3 of Pentacles here for Capricorn, please? There's a lot of cards flipping here. I want to talk. What's the 3 of Pentacles here for Capricorn, please? Judgment. It's a card of Scorpio in the Major Arcana. I'm not taking all of those. So many cards flipping. Where's the 3 of Pentacles here for Capricorn, please? Ooh! Death. Another card of Scorpio. Interesting. Talks about endings. Tower. Fucking they're just all turning over. Right. Why is the 10 of Wands, 2 of Wands and the Lovers here? I've got the Tower, which is the other card of Scorpio. Are you dealing with a Scorpio? If you're not dealing with a Scorpio, you've got some really heavy Scorpio energy going on with you at the moment, which is very interesting. Right. So it's the 2 of Wands and the Lovers, please. We've got Page of Swords and 2 of Cups. Interesting. So 7 of Swords here for Capricorn, please. Got the 9 of Rings. That's the Pentacles in a standard deck. And we've got the Emperor, which is the card of Aries in the Major Arcana. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the 4 of Wands. So this talks about home, security, stability, all that sort of thing. So Capricorn, the The first card you've got is the Three of Pentacles. Now, ordinarily, the Three of Pentacles talks about working together with other people to build something that would be really, really strong and last for a long time. But I always find it quite interesting that this card here depicts one woman working on a room, right? Even though it's a three, and even though there are supposed to be other people involved. She's here by herself. So for me, often this card can depict, you know, remote working, like distance learning, something like that. It's in your recent past. What I'm hearing is that you're actually sick of doing all the work by yourself. That's what I'm hearing there. There are supposed to be more people here on this card. There are supposed to be people helping lighten the load. You know, it's supposed to be split between you, but there is just one person working here, and it's you. And to a point, you don't actually look that concerned about it. I think perhaps you prefer being on your own a little bit, but the workload is starting to piss you off, or has been pissing you off. Then the two cards that we've got to clarify underneath are these two Scorpio cards, right? Judgment and Death. This character here at the front is full of arrows, and he's being pushed down by this character behind, right? Sometimes this card can talk about resurrections. It can talk about the bringing back of situations that you thought were over and done with. But I don't feel like that's relevant here. I feel like this is you making a judgment call about this situation right here, right? I think that you feel pushed down and repressed, and you've had enough. And you want to change it. You want to transform it completely, right? Death is a card of endings, but inherent within an ending is a beginning. You know, you make space for new things to come in when you end something. I think the judgment call that you've made recently is that you are sick of being the donkey. You're sick of doing all the work. But that you quite like being by yourself. You quite like not having to deal with other people. The workload's been too much. And you're looking to change it. And we come to your present. We've got the Two of Wands and the Lovers. And like I said, the card, this is the card of Gemini, the Lovers right here. But it talks about making a choice. And interestingly enough, the Two of Wands is about being at a crossroads, right? So both of them require some level of judgment to go in one way or another, right? The difference between the two cards is that I feel with this one, everything's still very much in the planning stages, right? It hasn't yet manifested itself into the 3D. The fact that she's holding a crystal ball and looking into it deeply, like she's trying to work out what the logical progression is on any given route, right? See it out to its logical conclusion, and then decide from there what she's going to do. The difference with this card is that there's a choice to be made, right? So maybe you've been given a choice, and each of these ones is you trying to work out which one it is. If it's a work situation, maybe you've been offered several jobs and you're trying to decide between them, you're trying to pick them. That's possible. Or maybe it's broader than that. Maybe you know that this situation, as it pertains to you, you know, take it as it resonates, is something that needs to change, and you need to make a decision about how to change it, but you haven't quite decided how yet. And then we've got all of these cards under here. Now, the first card that came out was the Tower, which is another Scorpio card. It's another card of endings, right? When the Tower energy comes in, it pulls down anything that's built on faulty foundations, right? Just knocks it clean over. And the idea is, if your foundations are strong, you just pick up all the rubble and you work out, you know, whether it's worth rebuilding the tower, whether you should take it and build it somewhere else, whether you even want a fucking tower at all, you know, it's up to you. The point is, it's a shocking energy, right? It comes in really, really fast. And it's come out underneath this decision. So maybe something's happened that's kind of made you think, I need to change things, I need to do something differently. Or maybe you've been presented with a choice, which is the Tower of itself. And now you're kind of reeling in the aftermath of it. And then we've got these two cards, and they came out together next to the Tower. And it's the Page of Swords and the Two of Cups. Now the Page of Swords, the pages are messengers, right? They bring you information. Because it's a page, often it's kind of clumsily delivered. Swords, so it can be quite cutting. It's usually information that you hear. Right? And there's a little dagger at the top here. And it's stabbing right into the vertebrae at the top of the neck. That, right? Looks pretty uncomfortable. So maybe this tower was information that you received from someone else, or a message that you got from someone else. Maybe it was just learning something about your circumstances. Because then we've got the Two of Cups. Now this can be a partnership, a romantic partnership, but it doesn't have to be. And I kind of feel, even though the Lovers isn't here, the Lovers is there, sorry, that this isn't a romantic partnership. This is an interpersonal relationship of some description, but that can be between you and a sibling, you and a friend, you and a work colleague, potentially. It feels like you've received some information about your interpersonal relationships, and possibly at work. Like we've got the Three of Pentacles there. You take it as it resonates to you. And that this was quite shocking. And it's left you needing to make a choice about something. I'm going to pull another card because I'm quite interested. Tell me more about this situation, please. More about this situation. I'm taking all of those. We'll take these two. We've got the Chariot in reverse. And we've got the Fool. Whatever this information was that came to you, and it involves other people, it's caused you to slam on the anchors somewhat. Like maybe you were, going forwards. That's interesting. You've been going forwards, you've been progressing quite nicely, and when this information came in, when this tower hit, you were like, not moving any further forwards with this, stopping right here. And then we've got the Fool. Right? Now, the Fool it's a new start, but it's in uncharted territory, right? It's something that you haven't done before. What I said was interesting was now at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Ten of Swords, just as we have the Ten of Swords here. Right? They're both shadow cards. They're the underlying theme for the entire reading. And as well as being the end of a cycle, it talks about feeling stabbed in the back. It's about being portrayed as being humiliated. We've got the World underneath that, which is also the end of a cycle. Right? Whatever you've been involved with, you've come very suddenly and very shockingly to the end of it, and it's time to move on, go in a different direction. Right? The Chariot moves relentlessly forwards because it's controlled by this charioteer here. Using the power of his mind, gets these sphinxes to go in a straight line when they actually want to go off this way. This way it's stopped. Right? It's not going forwards. It is not progressing anywhere. And this is a much lighter energy that you're moving forwards with. Whatever you've been involved with, it's the end of the road now, and it's time to go off in a different direction. What you've got coming up for you in February is the Seven of Swords. Now, some people call this the Thief card, and I don't like that because, in the Rider Waite, it's a kind of slightly pantomime scene. This chap kind of skipping away with some swords. There's much more gravitas about this, and I feel like the presence of the child mitigates the possibility of it being an inherently deceptive move that's indicated by this card. It feels more like it's taking a risk. And the reason that I don't like it being called the Thief card is because it's difficult to tell what the motivation is for these people stealing these swords. It might be something quite noble. And certainly because the child is there and the child is dragging a sword away as well. Maybe they're preventing a massacre. So for me, I tend to prefer to interpret it as taking a risk. All right? You are going to need to take a risk on something. if you want your new start, your very light, fluffy new start, I have to say. Your little dog at the side there. There's a lot of very heavy energy over here. There's a lot of transformative energy. There's a lot of sudden energy, sudden endings. 10 of Swords twice. Death, the Tower, Judgment. Like, that's all really, really heavy. This is quite the reverse. But in order to bring it in, you're going to need to take a risk on something. Right? These two cards underneath are the Nine of Rings and the Emperor. Now that's the Nine of Pentacles in a standard deck there, and the Emperor. The Nine of Pentacles is somebody who's completely self-sufficient. Right? It's usually depicted as a woman, and she's in a garden, and she's got a hawk and like grapevines and all that sort of thing. And it's she's put a lot of effort into creating the environment that she's in. Right? She's worked really, really hard. Maybe the point at which you find yourself, you've put a lot of effort into getting to that point. You're kind of happy with your level. If it's work, of status and of achievement and all that kind of thing, and you're sitting quite nicely in Nine of Pentacles energy. You are self-sufficient. You look after yourself. You do not need anyone else to bail you out of things. I'm looking at the fact that this hand here is putting down a rose. Maybe there's something about your new start that requires you to possibly risk this situation that you've sorted out for yourself right here, at least in the short term, in order to reap a greater reward later on. Because then comes the Emperor. The Emperor is the card of Aries, right? So there might be an Aries that's important, but he's a strategist, the Emperor. He doesn't actually indulge in the warfare. He directs people. He tells them where to go, tells them who to cut up and stab them, and run at them with the horses and things like that. If it's not a person, then it's an energy, and it's your energy. And it seems to suggest that you are going to need to take a risk. One that might, on the face of it, cause a short-term interruption in your self-sufficiency, but that ultimately will be for your better good, I think. I'm going to pull another card for it, so I'm quite interested. Let's see. Drops a load of cards down there. The one card that did come out is the Empress. So now you have the Emperor and the Empress. Right? The Emperor is the one who employs all the strategy. Right? It's a fire sign, but he's a very, very active mentally. Right? We've got the Empress, and the Empress is about fertility and abundance. She brings new things into the world. If you are channeling the energy of both, then what it's saying is that not only do you have the mental wherewithal to take a risk that may on the face of it look like bad strategy, but knowing that it will ultimately work out in the end, but that you have the ability to bring into existence more abundance than you could possibly have imagined. Because for me, the Nine of Rings is kind of like a lower echo of the Empress almost, right? There's certainly correlations at least, because this is usually a woman who is independent and self-sufficient and all those kind of things. Like, she's worked really hard for what she earns, what she owns, all that kind of thing. And this woman, this Empress, she can just bring it in, right? They're very closely related. But this is minor arcana, and this is major arcana. And I'm coming back again, hearing again this taking a short-term hit for long-term reward, right? Because this is where you're at, but this is where you could be. Nice work, Cappy. I have some advice for Capricorn, please. Some advice for Capricorn, please. Right. The first part of the advice is the devil. That is your card, right? That's Capricorn right there, right? And I feel like the cards are telling you to just be yourself. Go with your instinct on this thing, right? Because you have the ability to bring this forwards, right? So long as you are true to yourself, right here. And we've got the Knight of Wands. No, the Page of Wands. Going forwards with great excitement on a new journey, right there. But then we've got the Wheel of Fortune, right? It's another 10 right there. But it talks about things being slightly out of your hands. You know, if you've got a sense that you can take a short-term hit for a long-term reward and that it will pay off in the end, this card here is saying that you're absolutely right, Mike, and you're going to get assistance with it. Divine assistance, as it were. So I'm going to leave it there, Capricorn, because this is really interesting, but I need to go get a drink. So if it resonated, I'd love it if you'd let me know. Comment, like, whatever. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did. Yeah, best of luck with all your Tower Death stuff, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks for the February mid-month. Take care.